I'm popping on here just to tell you that I think I've gone crazy. I've bought jeans. I know, to some of you, that's not big news. You buy jeans all the time, but I have not owned a pair of jeans since my early 20s, I would say. Yes, my early 20s was probably the last time I owned a pair of jeans. I've started to follow a few people on Instagram, some sort of like older ladies with grey hair. It started off because I was looking for like longer grey hair inspiration and sort of styles and all those sorts of things, and I discovered a whole bunch of wonderful older ladies. That doesn't sound right, doesn't it? Mature ladies, goddesses that have grown into their power, however you want to say it. I have recently been finding these ladies, very gorgeous, beautifully dressed ladies, and I've been so inspired. And a couple of them have been wearing jeans really sort of elegantly and beautifully. And yeah, I don't know, I thought maybe I should give jeans a go. The other thing that inspired me was the last time I was in the recycle boutique with my daughter, I noticed a huge rack of jeans, secondhand jeans of all different shapes, sizes, colours, everything you can imagine. So I thought, I wonder if in that enormous rack of jeans there would be a pair of jeans that would suit and fit me. So I enlisted support. I basically asked my daughter if she wanted to do the same. She also, obviously being my daughter, has a very similar issue with the jeans. We bolstered ourselves, we went for a meal first, bolstered ourselves with a glass of cider and headed to the store. We got armfuls and armfuls of different jeans. Basically, I started at one end of the rack, she started at the other, and we just went through this rack and picked out anything that looked sort of wide enough in the beam, anything that was the right colour. I didn't want anything with rips in it. I didn't want overly sort of, what do they call it? Stonewashed. I didn't want stonewashed. I didn't want something that was really light coloured. I didn't want coloured jeans. I wanted jean coloured jeans. And my daughter had similar ideas. So we started at either end and we basically just went through and picked out anything we thought would work. And then we went into the changing room for, well, just the only word I can describe that is hilarity. We both walked away with a pair of jeans that we are really, really pleased with. It was a miracle. The jeans gods were smiling down on us because her jeans are beautiful. They're a dark wash jean with white stitching, wide legs. They look really smart. They're sort of the type of thing that she could wear to sort of like Fridays at work, but she also sort of could wear casually. They looked amazing. And I got these jeans. Well, you'll see in the reveal what they look like, but they are a bit different than the jeans that I sort of imagined. They're actually sort of low-waisted. They're not actually at the waist. They're sort of low-rise. I think that's what the term is. Obviously, my vocab around jeans is not brilliant. So they're a nice blue jean colour. They are wide leg. They are very wide leg because the whole sucky under the bum thing, the clenching everywhere, it's not a good look, and it's also really uncomfortable. So these didn't do that. They just sort of sat on my hips. Didn't have the issue with the waist-hip ratio because they basically sit lower, and then they just sort of fall. So no clutching anywhere that we didn't want. So really, really pleased. Now I have also had a look online because these jeans are lioness jeans. Lioness small. Given that my rear end has not changed in size since the last time I was wearing jeans, I find it quite amusing that it is now considered small, and it didn't used to be considered small. It's all this vanity sizing nowadays, isn't it? But hey, I'll go with it. The next challenge, of course, is that these are for a 9-foot woman. I'm a sort of diminutive 5'8" 2. That's a 1 meter 55, 1 meter 60, something like that, I think. The stitching has come undone a little bit here. I can fix that. And the other thing is that there is wear on the edge of the jeans. Now, whether somebody, it goes all the way down there, you see. So obviously the person wearing this was a bit shorter, maybe like me, and just wore them so that they were walking on the jeans or something. I don't quite know what people do. Maybe they just scrunched up at the bottom and it drags on the ground. I don't know what the system is. Anyway, my daughter very kindly pinned these up for me at the weekend, and you can see that the damage is right on the bend. It is quite serious sort of wear on the jeans, but I have of course looked on YouTube for how to turn up a pair of jeans, and it seems to be that you sort of take the original edge of the jeans and sort of then attach it to the bottom of the leg. And I'm hoping by doing that, that will sort of take out the damaged piece. If it doesn't, then I thought I could do some of that visible mending on anything that needs to be held together a bit better. I can do some visible mending. But they're jeans, and when I see people walking around with big holes everywhere, I thought, well, I think that's the look, you know, you have a bit of wear. Now, they're in pretty good nick. Apart from that, they were 32, I've got my glasses on, they were $32.20, so for trialling jeans after all this time, I thought that was a pretty good price just to give it a go. I mean, who knows, I might put them on, wear them a bit and go, oh no, jeans, bad idea. I knew they were a bad idea. Forget that. $32.20, I'm willing to give that a go, but I love them. I also got a new shirt. It's just a blue sort of, we used to call them granddad collars, what are they called now? Collarless shirt, male collar, that type of thing. Really soft, fine blue cotton, similar to the colour of the jeans, and then it's in a sort of a smock style, and that goes beautifully with these jeans. So I bought that shirt and these jeans, and I came out with a bill for $63, which I thought was not bad at all, and I really love the look. But I just thought I'd bring you along for the hem fixing. Obviously, thumbs up, like, leave a comment, tell me your experiences with jeans. Do you wear them? How does it go for you? What sort do you like? Any information would be gratefully received, because if this goes well, I might become more of a jeans person. But keep watching, because at the end you will see me in a pair of jeans for the first time in almost 40 years. Now, of course, do I have a whole heap of other projects in the mix that I'm doing? Of course I do. I've just made a pile over here with all the other projects. I've got Christmas presents that I'm doing. I'm trying to make some evening trousers. I've got my dolly dress that I'm trying to make, but I want to get on with these jeans, so they've taken priority in my sewing room. It's my sewing room, I can do what I want. So, here's my hem gauge, this will do the job. So that hem turn up, let's call it 15 millimeters, because it's sort of 15 millimeters around here. Right, so I need to just basically above my pin mark 15 millimeters up, and that's where my new seam line is going to be, and then I will stitch just inside this point here on the machine. That's what it says. I am really pleased, because the line that I've just chalked all around the legs actually is above all of the damage and the holes that are lower down, so I should be able to just trim that off. Obviously the cuff has got a little damage, but nothing like the hole through here, so that should fix it, so I'm pleased about that. So I've now pinned the end of the turn up piece there, to the line that I made on the jeans, which was the length I wanted it plus the depth of the hem, because obviously once that's stitched, this will fold over, so that'll come back down to the length of the jeans that I want. I've now pinned them all the way around, so I'm all ready now just to run a stitch all the way just on the inside of this sort of turn ups. The other problem is not being a jeans sort of person. I don't know if I have jean coloured thread. I've got various navies, maybe that'll be the job. Okay, so I've changed my needle on my machine to a heavier weight needle. The heaviest I had was an 80/12. That's the heaviest I've got because I don't generally do things like jeans. So I'm hoping that's going to be heavy enough. I'm just going to take it really slowly while I'm doing this. Okay, so thinking about the YouTube video, they did actually say to do it with a different foot, because if I can do it with a zipper foot, then it will be easier to do. So let's just change that foot over. And then of course I'll need to move my needle over. And then I should be able then to get close up behind, next to this seam, because of course you don't want half of it to be on the bulky bit, half of it to be on the much thinner bit, because it'll all be wonky and it'll be very difficult to stitch. To ease it through here by hand, I think. Well, that looks really nice. I'm actually quite pleased with the way that's come out. I mean, you will see it, but I think once it's pressed and it's on the bottom of your leg, probably not that much. And at a glance, it's the orange stitching that you see. Now, there's two different options on YouTube. Some people seem to do a top stitching, and other people basically trim it off and then sort of catch stitch on the inside. So I'm going to leave that decision for later. Obviously, I've got to do the other leg and then see where we're at after that. I've actually got to go out to a Christmas party this evening, so I'm actually going to pause. I'll probably do that bit. I'll just do this other leg and then I'll pause and finish off later on. So I've tried the jeans on one more time because I just wanted to make sure that I got the length correct. I've pressed them and I think it's come out really quite well. Close up you can see the turn up, but further away, and it looks like it's the, you know, the original cuff, you can't actually see the turn up, so it's really quite clever. But I have double checked it and it is the right length. So now I just need to trim this off. I'm actually going to use my machine to do a zigzag because I think that'll be just a bit easier than trying to put the bulky bits through my overlocker. And then I think I just need to hand tack it up into the back so that you don't catch it on your heel. Okay, that's done both legs. So now I have zigzagged the end, and the next thing is just to catch that loose edge so I don't catch my toe in it or anything, and just hand stitch around with little catch stitches so that it doesn't show on the other side. And once we've done that, the next thing is to sort out this problem on the bottom. So if you remember, on the bottom there is this stitching that has come undone. My plan at the moment is to actually stitch down that area with some blue thread, just to sort of catch the edges of the orange stitching, which actually is coming adrift. If I pull it, it comes adrift more, and I'll move that orange thread out of the way. And then what I think I'm going to do is try and move the orange thread back over the top of it, and then maybe just do some little loop stitches over the top of the thread to sort of make it look like this stitching here. You see how this is like the stitching, obviously it's like short orange piece, blue, short orange piece, blue, short orange piece. I thought if I laid that flat and then just put some blue stitches across to mimic the stitching. It's a thought at this point. I've looked on my thread rack. I don't know. See, I don't have anything jean sort of browny orange colour. Yeah, I'm just going to have to try and make something up so that it's not as visible. But it is on my bottom, the middle of my bottom. So I sort of think if people do stare at my bottom, I can go, oh, they're just looking at the mend. I have stitched with blue thread down this line, and I've got a little bit into this orange here and a little bit into this orange here to basically secure this so it doesn't pull the rest of the stitching apart. And it of course has secured the seam. What I'm going to do now is trim off this thread at one end, lay the thread flat along it, and then just try and do little over stitches in blue to sort of mimic the stitching. I've made a single line down here of the thread, and basically I put a needle through and pulled it through to the other side. That has enabled me now just to sort of, with the inside thread, I've just basically knotted the two together. Well, I'm really pleased with the way that that turned out. So can you see where I have made that change? I'm pretty happy with that. Even I'm struggling really close up. I am struggling to tell where I made that alteration. It's there. I think it's here. It's along here. So I am really, really pleased with the way that has worked out. I can strongly recommend that to anybody. If you've got the orange thread, lay it down along the seam. Obviously strengthen the seam with a normal stitch, a blue stitch that disappears into the fabric colour. Lay the orange thread down and then literally just do little loop stitches over the top of it to simulate the little orange stitches. That has turned out so much better than I could have imagined, and it is completely secure, of course, because it's all stitched in properly, and the ends of the threads have also been secured with the blue over stitching. So yeah, really, really pleased with that. So we're done. The next thing, of course, is going to be the reveal, and I'm going to try and style these jeans with a bunch of different things from my wardrobe. I'm going to show you my new shirt, of course, that I bought with these jeans. After almost 40 years of not wearing jeans, I'm going to have to do a bit of practicing to figure out how to wear them. So let's go to the reveal.